What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode review for The Witch and the Beast. This is episode 6, and with me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
We're entering a brand new arc with both SF and Gito receiving an assignment
Yeah,
about a
I don't know if this is actually what the arc is called, but I kind of just refer to it as the Demon
mhm,
Sword arc. Um,
yeah. So
but it's probably the longest
mhm,
one so far, from what I
yeah,
remember.
because seems like based on the episode title for the next week's episode, it doesn't look like it's gonna end, which is good because
No,
the last two arcs.
I'm guessing they'll probably dedicate at least 3 to 4
Yeah.
episodes to it.
So, like I said, Asif and Guido, of course, are assigned to investigate a series of killings caused by a witch, and of course, the Paladin Corps is also assigned to capture, or I don't know if like they were assigned to capture or kill the witch um, that is causing this mayhem. Um, but of course, a lot of these paladins are having trouble dealing with this witch because of I get because they said that she's a low level ranking witch, but she's powerful enough to take down or incapacitate the paladins that are trying to go after her.
Yeah, in this episode, in this arc, really, we finally get to learn a little bit more about the Paladin Corps because we've heard their names referenced before, but this is the first time we actually see them and we see the members of the Paladin Corps and just like uh, how they work. And apparently, as we've heard before about the Paladin Corps, they're another organization, I guess, aside from the Organization of Magical Resonance that deals with witches. Um, but I guess they have a different way of
Mhm.
doing things. Uh, we see that apparently like it's the that apparently they have these things called, I think they're like seers, they're called seers or something like this, things that they can control, that they kind of like have these, they kind of act like puppets that they can use, like kind of disposable soldiers, that they can like control with their main bodies back in this like floating fortress they have. They can control from there, these like remote soldiers that they use to chase down, or that they're using to chase down this
Yeah,
witch.
but of course, even with all their high level abilities, they still can't take this witch down for whatever reason, and that's when, of course, when both Asif and Gito engage her in combat, and Asif, of course, uses like this what was it, this compression spell to confine her into a small ball, but even with that, she's able to escape from that prison. And of course, Asaf realizes that she has like this. She possesses this special weapon called the Demon's Sword, which is the reason why she's so powerful than she normally is.
Yeah. Um, yeah. The paladins have like erected this kind of barrier around this part of town where they're trying to hunt down the witch. And of course, Ashaf and Gudo just kind of sneaking through the barrier. Um, but Ashaf tells Gudo that the witch that they're going after is not the witch that had, I guess, that had cursed Gudo. Um, and he kind of, I guess, determines that because, um, I think it's just like, I'm not sure if it's just based on the skill level of the witch, like she's not that powerful, um, or I think it's actually I think it was the markings around
Yeah,
her eye, um,
yeah,
yeah, because as we know, like the witches have these, like, I guess each one has a distinctive marking around their eye, that I guess tells you like, uh, I guess tells you about them, or tells you what they, maybe like what they're capable of or
yeah.
whatever.
So, in terms of like locating this witch that's being responsible for the killings, Asaf realizes that the witch that they're currently facing is not the actual witch that's responsible for all these killings in the first place. Instead, they're looking to I guess bring her on their side, and prevent the paladins from either killing or capturing her. So the witch is, of course, reluctant and wanting to join forces with Asaf and Guido. But of course, she's considering that offer. Uh, but of course, and of course, they also interact with the demon sword, which also talks somehow, and of course, the demon sword, of course, in a way, encourages her to work alongside Asaf and Gito, but of course, she tries to turn it down.
Yeah. Yeah. She basically, yeah, she turns them down, and uh, she's then is chased by more of the soldiers of the Paladin Corps, the remote controlled soldiers. Um, and I do want to talk about like the animation here. I was kind of concerned because I know in this story arc there's a lot more fight scenes, and we kind of see some of that in this episode. And I guess it kind of gives you an idea of what to expect from some of the fight scenes that are going to happen later. We see we see the witch kind of taking down some of the soldiers, and also there's like a brief skirmish with her and Gudo. Uh, and I mean, it doesn't necessarily like, I mean, and I guess you could say the same thing for like the rest of the series too, is that, or that at least from what we've seen so far, is that it doesn't really look bad, but it doesn't really look all that great either. It's kind of in the middle, and I mean, I guess that makes sense considering, like I said, that the kind of animation studio this is, but it's coming from someone who's read the manga and just knowing how good that it can look. It is a little bit disappointing just seeing it play out, and it's just kind of serviceable at best, and I feel like it should be a lot more than that. Um, it's kind of like, well, maybe not nearly as bad, but it's almost like watching a Berserk adaptation, or the 2016 or 2017 one, and just knowing that the manga looked, it's just so much better than what we're actually seeing in the anime. It's not, like I said, not the best comparison because it doesn't look as terrible as that, but it's like, it's just not the
Yeah,
same.
it's
Just from
yeah, it's
watching it.
just it. The animation style is, of course, similar to another show this studio also works on, which is, of course, the Kingdoms of Ruin, which I mentioned, back in episode one. It's like it started off strong, but then it kind of trailed off at a certain point, and then the animation quality also kind of dipped down as well. So that was also my concern for The Witch and the Beast when we first started on this.
One the other concern too is that I think, I don't know if you mentioned this or if I found out about this, but like the director for The Witch and the Beast is someone who's mostly, I think, worked on like slice of life anime,
Yeah,
or done things that aren't in this genre. So there's of course concern there that he won't really be able to do a series like Witch and the Beast, which is more like a dark
yeah.
fantasy series
The
with a lot of action.
director, Takayuki Hamana, he was the director of The Prince of Tennis. Um, so
Yeah,
I so it's weird for him to transition from, like, a slice. Well, I wouldn't say slice of life. I would say like drama, sports drama.
like a
Yeah,
sports
sports drama
anime.
anime, and transitioning into like a dark fantasy series, like such as The Witch and the Beast.
Yeah, it's not really the same thing. But yeah, so far, like I said, it's not bad, but it's not really, it's not really blowing me away, and I feel like with this series, it definitely should, um, like with this how the source material does, but I would just, if people haven't read the manga or that are just watching the anime, I would of course highly recommend checking out the manga if you are in any way kind of disappointed with the way that the anime, I guess, looks, and the fight scenes look. Maybe some people aren't gonna complain too much about that, but and focus more so on the story and the characters, which is also good. But it's just that the fight scenes are also really great in the manga, and I, of course, the anime just, as I expected, just does not do them any semblance of justice. So, um, I would still recommend, if you haven't read it, to read it. But yeah, so far I will say this episode, it's a faithful adaptation of the manga in terms of it staying true to what happens on in most of it. But like I said, it's just it is a night and day comparison when you're talking about the art of the manga versus the way things look in the anime.
Yeah.
Um, if it were up to me, I would definitely have a more high profile animation studio handle it with a lot of really well known animators to really take advantage of those scenes. But unfortunately, that's not what's going to. I mean, and I'm not surprised in a way because The Witch and the Beast is not a really well known wasn't a well known series to begin with. I feel like that's more something like that more so happens with other series like that are more they're more like well known and more popular. Whereas Witch and the Beast is a little bit a lot more obscure. So I guess I can't be too surprised that this is the kind of adaptation we're getting
Yeah.
with
I
it.
mean,
I guess it really could have been a lot worse, but and I guess I'm kind of repeating myself in a way, but I mean that's kind of my overall impression so far. It could have been a lot worse, but it also could have been like a lot better. And and it's so far like what I'm seeing, it's fairly average, like it's so in terms of just kind of trying to adapt like these fights and the general art style and atmosphere for the
yeah.
manga.
I just feel like, it's not, like I said, it's not getting as much attention due to the fact that it's currently going up against Solo Leveling, which has been a lot, which is the most high profile anime
Yeah.
series for the season right now. And not, and also, like, I don't know how much better it would have fared, um, with what was it, the spring anime season, which is gonna have like a crap load of different series that are gonna make a return or make its debut.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in any other season, it probably would have gotten buried. Um, I mean, I think people are watching it, but it's of course not near on the level of not nearly as much as something like like you said, Solo Leveling. Um, but of course, like I said, it doesn't really help that the manga wasn't really all that well known in the first place. So but yeah, I guess that all being said, I don't really have much else though to say about the episode itself. I like I said, I'm curious as to how they're going to handle some of the fight scenes later, because I feel like so far what we've gotten is kind of just a taste of how they're going to handle them, and I'm still a little bit concerned because there are going to be some pretty crazy ones that are coming up near the end of this story arc. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they handle that. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say though. I don't know if you have anything
I
else to say
mean,
about it.
I would say this is one of the better episodes of the show so far, and I do like
Yeah.
that. It's gonna be a much longer arc in comparison with some of the other episodes. I mean, the Necromancer arc in the last two episodes were pretty decent by far, but I think like this episode, which is the beginning of a brand new story arc, is I think it's potentially going to be one of the better arcs for the season.
Yeah. Yeah, guys. But that all being said, until next time, we will see you all later.